these emerging artists, the young creatives, the new business owners that are, it's really very vibrant.
Mhm. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. We have another very interesting installment of the Silver Nugget series where we speak with subject matter experts like Miss Rosario Juan, the lovely owner of Commune, a beautiful coffee and event space in Poblacion in Makati. She is the chief extractor of coffee. And what an interesting title. Can you tell us a bit more about this, Ross?
Well, I wanted to call myself the chief grinder, but that didn't sound so
Yes.
so I thought chief extractor of coffee, and I found it funny, but it's been effective because people don't forget when they read my card or they see my description. They find it interesting, and all it means really is I make the coffee.
Yeah, and I've seen your coffee skills in
Wow.
yes. And I love seeing your little I don't know what you call your coffee sessions, your
The
um
brew
the
night.
brew, exactly. Yeah. I love listening to it. And I have to tell you, your voice is really very relaxing. And you feel like, wow, I want to have whatever she's having.
Really?
Yeah, super, super.
Thank you for
Um,
the encouragement.
keep those going. I want to know, Ross, can you tell us a bit about the inspiration behind Commune? How did you birth Commune?
Okay, so Commune actually started in 2013. So we're turning 10 next year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, we turned 10 this year also, Silver
Oh,
Train.
yay! Happy anniversary.
Thanks. Cheers to
And
us.
yeah, I know. Congratulations to both of us. Yeah, so we started in 2013, and it was really born out of a dream. I've always wanted to have my own business.
Mm-hmm.
I come from a family of entrepreneurs, so it's sort of like always the goal for us to like start a venture of our own.
Yeah.
And I have been exposed to the coffee industry ever since I was in college. I would be interning already. And then I worked with my aunt, who's very active in the Philippine coffee industry.
Yeah.
And I just really fell in love with coffee. So I told myself that if and when I do start my own business, it's going to be a cafe. I wanted to have my own cafe.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked in coffee for many years. I worked here and in Shanghai, went on a short hiatus, did advertising.
Oh, cool. You also need the skill to be able to market your coffee.
Yes, that's true. It worked out. And then a space opened up. And
Mm-hmm.
so my family was like, Kala namin you wanted to open a coffee shop. There's a space. Um, you should take the lease before somebody else gets it because it's a really nice space. And at first I was super hesitant, and then I thought I just have to bite the bullet. I mean, there's never gonna be a perfect time. So that's how commune happened. And I decided to name it commune because I wanted to be a space where people could gather.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a place where you go for coffee, but you really go to commune for human connections, for that feeling of community. And that's what you do. When you commune with people, it's really to gather and talk intimately and over a good cup of coffee.
Yeah. I really like how you said that. And referring to one of our past videos where we talk about empathy connecting people, what do you think it is about the coffee culture or the coffee habit that brings people together?
The history of coffee is very interesting. And I think that's also one of the main inspirations as to why I wanted commune to become really a community hub. If you look back to the history of coffee in the 1600s and the 1700s, it's really the coffee houses where the great minds would gather. They would sit there and write their novels and all the revolutionary thoughts. They would gather and discuss and, make amazing things happen. All these thinkers, the thought leaders, diba? That's where they would meet in the coffee shops. And that's a big inspiration for commune. That's what I wanted people to do. I wanted people to gather and come up with like creative ideas or end up working with each other on different projects. What is it about coffee? I don't know. Maybe because it's this warm beverage that's really meant to be enjoyed slowly.
Yes.
So it makes it thought provoking. It's something that you enjoy slowly. And I think that whole process of taking things slow allows you to sit with your thoughts.
That's so well said. And I think also maybe the smell, like there's something
Yeah.
stimulating about when you walk into a nice cafe. At least for me,
Mhm.
that's what does it. It triggers the senses before you even put it into your body.
Yeah. And then when you do ingest it, it is a stimulant. So
That's true. That's true.
yeah.
So, but yeah, so well said. The thinkers that came together, and I like how you say that it inspired you to gather people together and perhaps do something creative and productive together. So, how have you? And I know you have, but maybe our listeners don't. How and our viewers, how have you helped in building this community around coffee?
Okay. We did it in two ways.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned earlier, I took a hiatus from working in the food and beverage industry for about, I think, 1, 2, 3 years.
Okay.
And I worked
In Shanghai.
in
Is that the one in
no,
Shanghai?
right after Shanghai. So in Shanghai, I was in cafe operations, and I
Mhm.
was marketing the cafe as well. Then I came home. When I came home, I went into digital advertising.
Okay, okay. Yes, tell us more about that.
So I worked in one of the first digital advertising companies in the Philippines, and I headed the social media department.
Mhm.
So it was the
Way
time
back
when
in, can you give us a bit of a timeline so people
it was
understand?
in 2010.
Okay,
This
so
was
it was
in
new, right?
it was
Relatively
so
new.
I left Shanghai 2009. I came home, and then I sort of like was exploring social media on my own. And
Mhm.
then it was in 2010 where I ended up working with this digital advertising company. It was then known as Net Booster. It has been
Oh
acquired
my
since.
goodness, that name. It's a
Yes, it's a
throwback.
very yeah, it's a bit associated with Friendster. That's what was written on the wall. Friendster, multiply. So I'm aging myself. But yeah.
Makes me laugh, but I love it.
And then the people are like, Friendster, what's that?
Yeah.
So, so at that time, I was even able to find that gig on
Uh-huh.
Twitter because I was very active on Twitter. I was trying to, oh no,
Oh, no.
there is a cat that is flipping over my lamp.
There are lots of them that come to commune too, right? They're welcome there.
You're welcome. That's our manager actually. Mirage, please stop.
Oh yeah, Mirage. Hello, Mirage.
So,
So Twitter,
um,
Twitter.
yes. So that was in Twitter. And then somebody tweeted, I'm looking for a social media manager.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'll do it.
Wow,
Said,
just
okay,
like
let's
that.
meet over lunch. Just like that on Twitter. Twitter then was a very different place. It was filled with nice people and very civilized conversation.
Wow.
Imagine that.
I
So
it's hard to recall that time.
very hard to recall that time. In 2009, 2010, most of the people who were exploring Twitter were in advertising or telco, IT companies, those industries now,
Yes.
medyo related.
Yeah.
And so I started working for Net Booster. And then my dad would always kid me, what's your job title again?
Yeah.
Because I totally had to make it up. There was no job title. There was
Right.
no, as it's known as the social media department, but that was it. Everything was, I was forming the job scopes. I was building the team. So they're like, okay, so should we put as your job title on
Wow.
contract? And I said, social media strategist.
Yeah. You
Like,
go.
what?
Girl.
What's that?
Yeah.
Well, I make social media strategies, so that's what they'll call me. But you made it up. Well,
Yeah.
otherwise, you don't have
Good.
a job title.
That's so cool though. Ang galing.
Yep. Those were the days when we literally were being hired to play with Facebook all day and figure it out.
Mhm.
Because those are still the early days.
And Facebook was by invitation only during those days. Do you
At
remember?
that time,
Yeah.
yes. Businesses were just starting to use it.
Yeah.
So to run promotions and stuff, you needed like games that you would plug into Facebook.
Oh
Mga
my
ganyan.
goodness. Yes. That's why there were so many bill.
Hashtags were new. Facebook didn't have hashtags yet. Only Twitter had hashtags.
That's
So
right.
that is the day.
Oh my goodness. This is really a walk down. I don't know.
Memory lane.
That's memory lane. It's so funny.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny how we always make jokes about how we explain the telephones to kids, like
Yeah.
landlines.
Or cassette tapes.
Yeah, but even Friendster now in the early days of Facebook, when you explain it to them, they'll be like, really?
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
And we did have Facebook on our mobile phones.
No, and people had
Only some
testimonials.
phones. Oh, and what was really like revolutionary at that time was the BlackBerry actually had Facebook in it.
My goodness, that's right. I had a BlackBerry. Oh my goodness.
So anyway,
Yes, going back.
so I was deep in social media, and then I realized that all the social media apps would have a local community. So like there was Tweet Up Manila, which I helped started.
Sorry, what was
Um,
it again?
Meet Up Manila, I helped
Meetup.
start that because meetups for Twitter users.
Oh,
And then
wow.
there was Tumblr Philippines. Tumblr was very active then.
Oh my.
Foursquare, if you remember.
Yes,
And
and Tumblr was all like graphic, like the old.
yeah, you could like
I
there
guess.
were photos and some short blogs like shorter than Live Journal, but like
Yeah.
longer than Twitter would be in
Yes,
Tumblr. And then Instagram was not owned by Facebook then. It
that's
was
right.
its own
It was
app, and then there's a community called IGers Philippines.
Mhm.
So there were local groups, user groups of all these apps, and they all meet each other on social media, but they organize themselves to meet in person. So coming from that world or being super entrenched in that world, when I was starting commune, I saw the need for like face-to-face offline connection for
Mhm.
all these communities. And I guess one of the memorable things was Tweet Up Manila. So we were doing regular tweet ups wherein we would meet each other.
What do you think? What were they craving? Why were these meetups so engaging for them?
Because you were always in that app and you were talking to each other like you were friends,
Mm-hmm.
but you've never met in person.
Okay.
So parang that was like the last step they needed to solidify that relationship was to meet in person.
Right.
And we would organize the tweet ups and we would call each other by our usernames because we didn't know each other's names.
That's so funny. So it's kind of like gaming in a way.
Kind of. Where you had some sort of anonymity still online.
Mm-hmm.
But because you'd establish a group of people that you're always talking to, and it becomes sort of like an online barkada, and you just needed to meet each other in person. So it was for Tweet Up Manila. One day, we found ourselves sitting in the park in front of a mini stop because it was almost 2 a.m. and there was nowhere else to go.
Wow. So you would stay together a long time.
We'd like meet each other for dinner, and then we knew what times coffee shops would close and where. So okay, let's meet there, and then we'd move, and then we're like we've nowhere to go.
Wow.
And one of the jokes was, "Nako Ross, if you had a coffee shop, you would have somewhere to go."
Oh, wow. So this was pre-commune.
Yeah, this was
Ah.
2010, 2011. So that's one of those things that I guess, I mean, there's a bunch of different situations that really inspired what commune is now, but that's one of the memorable things. that inspired it. And that's how Commune was born. And that's why really at the core of what we do, of course, is the wonderful Philippine coffee, is really community. And it's funny how it went from giving a space for offline communities to go online, at for online communities to go offline.
Right.
And then when the pandemic happened,
Oh my,
it's
yeah.
taking our offline community back online so we keep in touch with it.
Right. Must have been a good source of support and sanity. Yeah.
Definitely.
That's so nice. So now I understand how everything kind of led up to Commune's birth, and leading up to that too. How do you think building all these communities continues to help with the success of Commune as a business?
Okay, I think for coffee, for
Mm-hmm.
anything that has to do with coffee,
Yeah.
of course, it's a big thing that you provide good quality coffee, that it
Yes.
tastes good, that they enjoy it, you have consistent quality, etc. But going into a coffee shop is really more than the coffee. It's the entire experience. From the moment you walk in, when you smell that, bango, it smells like coffee, to
Yeah.
your entire experience of what you drink, what you eat, who you see, up until you're done with your meal and you leave the door. That entire experience counts as your coffee experience.
Right.
And a big part of that coffee experience for Commune is really the communities that we have. So, aside from giving a space for all the online communities to meet up, we've also become a sort of like an art and cultures hub
Yes.
and a place where we help other small businesses incubate. So before the pandemic, you're familiar, we do a lot of events,
Yes.
workshops,
So nice.
and we really let these different groups know that we are open to these events. We make it feasible for them to have the events with us. So from improv groups like Silly People's Improv Theater, to even Manila Pride would have like some mini events or meetings here. Filipino free thinkers, different communities, no?
Mhm.
And then for artists to mount their exhibits or small artist group, like Basic Movement is a group of young designers. So they did their like first pop-up here like 5 years ago, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago. But now all these designers are now in Maarte Fair and Artificio.
Wow.
And
They've
it
grown.
was sort of like tried first how to do like a pop-up.
Yeah.
And even for other small businesses, like a lot of our, well, all our pastries are outsourced. So home bakers, we get to work with home bakers. They get to try out having just a little bit bigger and more consistent
Regular.
orders.
Yes.
Yeah, more regular orders
Yeah.
from a cafe. So they try it out here. Or like artists, like potters, like Mansi Abesames used to do pottery sessions here. And now we've done collabs with her on like special drippers and stuff like that. So
Wow.
we really like working with all these communities. And it's always these emerging artists, the young creatives, the new business owners that are, it's really very vibrant,
Mhm.
uh, very innovative, very open to a lot of creative ideas. That's why we really like working with them.
If you were and probably you have been asked this before, if you were a cup of coffee, what would you be and why? Natanong ka na
Ooh,
ba?
I have never been asked that before.
Oh, you think about it.
I am an espresso macchiato.
Yes.
Pero yung Italian style macchiato, ah.
Oo.
The Italian style macchiato is a shot of espresso with just a dollop of milk foam on top. So it comes in a demi-tasse still. I just need to make that distinction.
Yes.
So it's like the espresso is like intense and
Yeah,
but
yeah.
warm.
Yes. Go lang.
And then there's a dollop of that, a dollop of like steamed milk foam on top.
Yeah.
Yun
Skuma.
yung pampakalma ng kape. Pampakalma ng coffee. No sugar.
Yes. No sugar, no sugar. Yeah, the coffee in Italy is just so good. For our closing, what do you think are two qualities you need to succeed in this cafe world where people are opening, shutting down, opening, shutting down? You're turning 10 Next year, did you say this year? Next
Next
year.
year in April, yeah.
Yeah.
I tell people that, and I do classes for like how to open a coffee business.
Hmm.
At the start of the class, everyone is so excited, and it's usually people from different industries who are thinking of going into the coffee business to
Yes.
fulfill a dream or to enter a more calming business now.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Why do they think it will be
And I
calming?
used and I used to end with slides on like the financials.
Hmm.
And then so everyone's faces are like this at the end of the class. Like, okay, wait, let's fix it. So I would do like the stuff you need to invest on, etc., etc. And then my last slides would always be about how to market your business and then the mindset for that business. Para naman may glimmer of hope. Because
Mindset's important.
yes, and because I just need everyone to realize, because I think a lot of people see the coffee business as super glamorous. Like they just imagine me sitting in a coffee shop day in and day out, sipping my coffee
Right.
while looking out the window, right? The reality is I am not a perpetual customer. When you're running a coffee business, it's just like any other business.
Right.
So two things to remember. One, I think, is persistence.
Yeah.
That no matter what life or the business world throws at you, you're able to pick yourself up and sort of like still fight for
Yes. I like
what it is you
faith.
want or the business, right? Pero, sige, game pa, fight pa tayo, fight.
Yeah.
So one is persistence. And the other one is, how do I encapsulate it in one word? First thing that comes to mind, I guess, is mindfulness. I'm not sure if that's going to be the correct term, but just yeah, maybe to be able to take the time to slow down a bit and remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the things that I like telling my students is
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes passion, and I learned this from another student, that sometimes passion has an expiration date.
Yes. Yes.
When it's no longer all fun and games, or when the steam of your passion has run out,
It's
there
true though.
yeah, you need to have a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
That's just it. More than passion, you're going to have a purpose. Like, why are you doing this in the first place? And that thing might change for you in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. When I started, it was really because I wanted to pursue that dream of starting my own coffee
Yes, your
business.
personal dream.
But now that we're 10 years into it, some of my team members that we've started working with 10 years ago now have their own families and their kids. So now the purpose is something bigger than myself, because how the business does affects how my team members are going to be living their lives, and that affects their families. And then even, of course, the farmers that we get our coffee from. Better business that we do, the more coffee we can buy from them. Really keeping your purpose in mind, being very mindful about that.
That's so nice, Ross. I love how you went all the way back to the history and all the things that led up to it, and how you are very cognizant and self-aware about it has to be bigger than it may start with a personal dream, but to sustain it, it has to be bigger than that, bigger than you. So nice. I got goosebumps, and this happens when I really feel the really nice connection and the all the nuggets that you shared with us and with our viewers. So I hope a lot of people get to enjoy this as much as I enjoyed the chat. Thank you so much for making time. And
Thanks.
the pleasure was really mine, and I know you're a busy girl. I won't keep you much longer. If people want to find out about Commune, would you like to share which places they should check out Commune, like Instagram, or what we can link it down below?
Okay, so our website is commune.ph.
Okay.
Everything is linked there, but we're on Facebook and Instagram also as Commune PH.
Okay.
Every Sunday we do the Brew Tonight, so it's like a super casual live stream coffee chat. And I'm also the founder of the Coffee Home Brewers community on Facebook. So for anyone wanting to just talk to other coffee nerds, learn more about coffee, and even learn about the other coffee businesses in the Philippines, Coffee Home Brewers on Facebook.
We enjoyed so much the chat. Thank you again so much, Ross.
Also,
Thank you so much, Ross, and everybody that watched. Thank you so much, and keep growing with Silver Train.